Hello, everybody. So we're doing another meetup, and we just had one about the 6.0 beta that's currently out, and people are testing it. Really appreciate your feedback and your submitted bugs on all of the exciting changes that we decided to add for no reason. Today, I am joined with Mikey303 and Sky. Say hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
You also have a special guest.
I have a special guest here as well, a colleague and good friend of mine, Mark Setrakian, who's going to be sharing a mic with Mikey. So we didn't really have a plan. Mikey came in town because we had to go over some customer support stuff on Shopify, and we haven't really hung out in a while, so I thought it'd be good for us to get together and talk about Super Booth that's coming up and, go over some customer support stuff and all that. So, and we also thought it'd be fun to do a live meetup in the same room.
Yay meetups.
So we didn't have a plan for this meeting until this meetup until like an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago, where I just said, hey, why don't I just show off all of the prototypes of all of the M8s? Because that's kind of the content's already made for us. And then we could go through some bundles, which I still haven't ejected the drive yet because we're doing this all last minute. But we'll get there. Hold on, I have to do some behind the scenes things. Mikey, make sure to edit this out on YouTube.
Editing this. I'm editing it out as we speak.
Fix it in post.
I have Clipchamp open.
Okay, so I ejected the drive.
He's currently ejecting a drive, just to give you a visual.
This is not user friendly.
He's working on it.
Okay. Sorry, I was copying over all of the meetup bundles onto a micro SD card. And it's like across the table, and it's really hard to eject this way. Okay. Okay, so that part's done. We can move on to the storytelling. All right. So as you can see here on my screen, this is a Facebook. I forgot that I was already sharing this. But this is a screenshot from Facebook. I haven't logged in Facebook in forever, by the way. I just went in there to download some videos and stuff. But this was 2014 when I first started prototyping the at the time it was going to be a MIDI tracker. And I just like my quote here. I feel like this is going to be a long journey just because it's hilarious that it turned out to be more true than I knew at the time. So it's kind of an early prototype. And I have another one here. So this is what I was thinking about doing. I just had the parts. They're not actually hooked up here. I just had the parts laying on a breadboard. But the idea was to use a Teensy. And this is the Yamaha YM2149, which is the same 3-channel, was it like pulse wave-ish, square wave, 3 square wave channel chip that was on the Atari ST. So I was thinking at the time, like, oh, I could do like a MIDI thing, and then, so a little bit of backstory. I implemented some MIDI modes for Little Sound DJ, LSDJ, the Game Boy thing, and I had a lot of fun sequencing external gear, so I wanted to push that idea further, and then that's where this kind of all took place. Yeah, this project never really came into fruition at the time. Like it was one of those I spent a couple months on it, and then it collected dust. So, but yeah, I thought that was interesting little backstories. So with the Yamaha 2149F, I made an open source project. It's on GitHub. It's basically a MIDI. It's our Arduino based MIDI thing for the YM2149F. I'll just play this little video. So this is around the same time period. I think this is like 2016, actually. But this is just an octatrack, obviously, just controlling the YM2149. I know the video is pretty quiet, too. Oh, the video is totally quiet. Here we go. So the octatrack's just sending MIDI to this chip, and you kind of, you know, it's basically a chip tune kind of thing going on via MIDI. Yeah, so that was a fun little video. And then I have some slightly older videos. Let's look at this one first. So this is when you saw that breadboard earlier, this is basically it working. Kind of, but this is like the primitive interface of what I was thinking for that eventually became M8. And the sound you're hearing is actually just MIDI being sent to Ableton and then random synths on Ableton. So it was just a MIDI sequencer. Yeah. And then this, oh, it got big. This video is, let's just hit play. Just me, I think. I originally called the project MMT, like micro MIDI tracker, essentially. You can see it's basically the same as LSDJ, which M8 inherited, but it's got the velocity and instrument columns, and then two command effects columns, which I don't think do anything in this prototype. I know these videos are really quiet, but... You can see like the idea is fundamentally there. Again, all these sounds are it's just sending MIDI. None of the stuff's like internal. And that's pretty much it. You see my desktop background here is using a lovely photo. I have more videos. If you go on my Instagram, and there's like an Instagram story reel there that is tagged M8, and it just goes through like all the different prototypes and like when I first got sound working. But what ended up happening in 2019, because I stopped, like I got MIDI working and then I just stopped it. And then in 2019, I dusted it off. And then, because I wanted to control the YM2149, I was like, oh, wait, I could just put this tracker in a cheap Game Boy knockoff shell and then have the YM chip like there inside the enclosure. And then it's just like a portable Atari ST tracker. And I'm like, that'd be cool. So I started working on that. And let me turn on my camera somehow so I could show you the prototype. Here we go. So, let me move my mic. What we got here is my, this isn't mine. This is, somebody else made I think a YM2149 thing that's using the code that I wrote for the Teensy. And I kind of slapdashed a board together that has, you know, a display. It's the Game Boy button layout, and this was designed to go into a Game Boy case, and I think it was in a case at some point. And you see right here, this is an optocoupler pads for MIDI, and I'm just like tying in directly between these two boards. But this is 2019. I could see if it works. I think it did boot up. But this is going to be the fun game. I have so many of these prototypes, but let's see if any of them power on. Yeah, so that did power on, but you could see it's kind of all zeros. So I don't know if it actually works. But yeah, there you go. That was kind of the first prototype. And then I think the chip on here too is using a Teensy 3.5 or 3.6. It's not a Teensy 4 yet. Let's see. We're just gonna do a show and tell of all the various prototypes. Hope you guys don't mind. This was the next iteration, I think. I started playing with the Teensy 4, and I realized, oh, this is a lot more powerful, and I could probably do built-in synthesis. And that's basically what this one is. I doubt this one turns on. I could try it, but I'm pretty sure I cut off the DAC that used to belong on here because I needed it for another prototype. But let's see. Does it power on? Does it short out the battery? Well, it turned on, but it went to a blank. Oh, hey.
Hey, look at that.
Look at that boy. It turned on. So this is still 2019, but this is kind of like the first step because this version had a DAC on there, and I decided to ditch the YM chip because I realized the YM chip's like just 3 square waves, and with a lot of software manipulation to those square waves to make it sound really cool. And at that point, it's like you're basically doing your own DSP. So I just decided to just do it all on the same chip, especially with the Teensy 4 was so much more powerful. So next up, actually this one's older, I think. I have this Osh Park style purple board. Same kind of thing. I think this one's still doing the MIDI thing because it's got looks like it has 2 MIDI I/O ports on it. But it's just another prototype of the first board I showed. You could also see this is funny. You could see this like amazing set of wires here, and that's because I did the pin layout backwards because I wasn't thinking about this screen plugging through the board to get to this side. So there's all of the wiring is here in the circuit board, but it's all backwards. So I had to like redo it all with manual wires around the thing. It was just a bad prototype on my end. Let's see, we got, well, I don't know which one came first, actually. I don't know if it was this one or this one, but one of these two came first. Chunky boys.
They're so thick.
Yeah. So this one looks like I was planning to have audio in, audio out, and 2 MIDI outs, I think, and 1 MIDI in. So it's got like 1 extra jack than M8 has. And let's see if it turns on. Well, of course it doesn't turn on. Let me plug it in first. This one also had a LiPo, but I think I removed the LiPo a while ago. So I could tell it's eating power, but I don't know if it'll actually turn on. Rip. Maybe if I put an SD card in it? Hold on, let me try putting an SD card in it. This is fun. No, it's not going to want to turn on. I probably did something. Rip. All right. How about this one? Will this one turn on? So this one, so there's 2 different concepts going on with these. This one uses a kind of off-the-shelf extruded aluminum case. Because I was trying to figure out like how to make a product that wasn't really a product, but just for like maybe making like 50 units or something, or 100 at most ever. So I was trying to figure out like what would be the fastest way to make something. So this was just machined out of extruded aluminum common enclosure. It's really ugly, but I still like it.
It's got a charm to it.
Yeah.
It's really thick.
It's got a chonk to it.
Yeah, it's a little bit thicker than like a DMG.
So this one doesn't turn on either. Yeah, it's like an inch thick. I don't know what that is, and it's like, yeah, double the thickness of like a standard M8 probably, or a little more.
Yeah.
So this one's not turning on either. Or what's funny is I don't even know which direction the switch is on or off. So, but this one has an SD card in it even. So I don't know what's going on. These are all kind of left in various states because I was just rapid fire prototyping these over a couple months. This one, instead of using this enclosure, I was using PCBs. So, whoa, oh, ruined. Collector's item ruined. So this back plate's a PCB, this front plate's a PCB, and then it's a 3D printed, poorly 3D printed spacer in between them. This is still, I think, late 2019. Yeah, this is still 2019. All of these things.
Does feel like it's getting a little closer though.
Yeah. So this is the original. You see, this one has a serial number of 80. This is a beta unit, which several people have. I think I got like 80 something out of 100 working, and people who got those got them. But it's the same concept as the 3D printed one with the PCBs, except for this is a laser cut piece of acrylic, because it's way faster to just laser cut that. This one probably still works, I'm sure. Probably needs power to turn on, though. Hasn't been turned on in I don't know how long. Will it turn on? Maybe it won't turn on. Nothing I have works anymore. It's funny. But yeah, this is the original beta units. When I first started designing this, I still thought like I'd be making like maybe 100 units, maybe 200 units at most. It was very small scale project at this point in time.
Yeah, it felt like when you did the orders for those beta units, it seemed like I knew every single individual person who ordered one, because it was such a small project or smaller scale project. It was just all friends or friends of friends.
Yeah.
And we all knew each other and were talking about it.
So this is one of these units. I don't know if I'm talking to Mark right now, who's across the room. I don't know if you bought one or if I gave one to you. I don't remember which.
I think. All right, let's.
Yeah, maybe you could switch mics.
Mic swap.
Mic swap.
Hey, I'm Mark.
Hello, Mark.
So first of all, this is like Tim's version of going into Tony Stark's garage and seeing like the Hall of Iron Man. You know.
You being here
from version 1.
All
the
of
way
these
through,
things. Yeah.
Like from the one that he made in a cave to like the Mark 42. So yeah, so I got one of the beta units and
One of these boys.
And one of the things that I think we talked about was that I kind of wanted to shroud the edges of the PCB. So I felt like the one thing that I felt uncomfortable about when I was holding it was the like touching the actual raw edge of the PCB.
Right.
And so I designed this this piece that merged them together, and that became that.
So yeah, this is the same beta unit, only instead it's replacing this piece of acrylic with a 3D printed middle section. And this to me, like everybody says, like this version of M8's iconic with this silhouette, and really that's Mark's style to me when I looked at this with these large heavy chamfers. But when I saw his, this isn't his. This is, I think you printed this for me.
I think I made 2 of those, and there's one I have one, and you have that one.
Yeah, but I was like, this is it. This feels amazing. Do you mind if I copy this design for doing this out of aluminum? Because I just loved how this looked. I liked everything about it. It was like that was the finishing touch that really made this, I think, pop. For those that don't know, Mark Setrakian is a roboticist, a puppeteer, an amazing, talented individual who designs lots of cool stuff. And we've worked with each other, I think, since around 2013.
Yeah. So Tim and I met on a project called Robot Combat League, which was kind of what it sounds like, big robots that beat the crap out of each other. And Tim was doing interactive lighting in the robots, and that's how we met. And, you know, we've been friends ever since.
Yeah.
yeah, as far as my work, I do robots, I do creatures for movies, and I write robot control systems in Max.
Max MSP.
Yeah, so like my hobby is music, and basically using music to create robotic motion is kind of my thing.
Very, very, very cool work. And for those that don't know him, feel free to Google and look at some of his incredible work.
And
I used your hand claw. Some people saw that at one of the conventions here in LA to basically spin the M8
yeah,
at my booth. But that's like a sculpture essentially, and I kind of repurposed your art piece for my own.
So no one is allowed to use that for anything except Tim. Tim is allowed.
But yeah, so this I think just looked amazing.
Yes, the BattleBots trophy claw. That's the one.
Yeah.
Right.
So I have other prototypes here. Like this is, wow, this is a weird prototype. I don't know where this one lives.
Now, Tim, is it true that you based the dimensions of that case on the concept of possibly putting it into a Euro rack?
Right, exactly.
And that was something that the metal shroud that enclosed the edges of the PCB kind of negated that to some extent.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
But I think it made the unit very pleasant in the hand to hold, at least more so than it was.
Right.
So, but you could still do that if you wanted to. You could
Yeah,
take those
you
original
unscrew
units and you could put
the
them into
thing.
a Euro rack.
I, especially at that time period, this is mid to late 2019. I don't remember which. It was around that time period, and it might even have been early 2021 when this. Yeah, it was 2020. I think when this finally came out.
Yes.
Tim, I want to see that one.
Which
That
one?
right there, the one with the.
This one?
Mikey, grab that one, the one with the metal.
Metal?
No,
Oh,
the
you want
metal
to see
one? That. No, on the table. On the no. That. Put that. Not. Don't give it to me. Give it to Tim.
You're ruining everything, Mikey.
Yeah.
There, show them that one. That one's really cool.
Yeah. No. Well, I wanted to finish because you brought up a good point. You brought up a good point about I originally based the dimensions off of a Eurorack panel because at the time Eurorack, and it still is popular, but it was like you'd be stupid to not allow this to integrate nicely with a setup. And I didn't really think about the ergonomics of it and how impractical like operating this like in a normal Eurorack panel would be, but it's cool to have that as an option. But you're right, once we put this shroud around it, it kind of negated a lot of the ability there. So this one here, I think is the first prototype of the aluminum that's proper. But I wanted to kind of go back on this one real quick just because I think it's funny. This one has I don't know if you could see it. There's two PCBs on the top, and one of them is so I could fit the SD card like right underneath the screen right there. So it's kind of just I was experimenting still with trying to figure out like where I could fit everything essentially. But yeah, get that one out of here. Yeah, this is the first metal aluminum enclosed prototype of the Model 1. I don't know if it's that exciting, but you could tell it's literally just me copy pasting Mark's work here. As best I could.
It's never that easy. You did a great job.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's tricky. You can see here like the SD card slot's still not perfect yet. It's a tricky one to get right. But yeah. Do we have any more prototypes? Oh, this is a normal Model 1, yeah. So they're pretty samey. This one's actually a brake unit. This is the one I kept one for myself. For those that don't know, toward the end of the run, I think of Model 1. I mean, I didn't know at the time it'd be the last run or whatever, or close to the last runs of it. But I had a bunch of boards that have like slight minor imperfections on, because this is still a PCB. And just through manufacturing, there's always going to be slight defects. So instead of like chucking the whole boards, I decided to like sell them at a slight discount rate, and then I did a custom etch design on the backside. The reason why I did the etch was not necessarily to add value. Well, it was to make it something unique and cool and special, but also I didn't want people to try to resell like units that had slight blemished as like, hey, you could buy this for $800 on Reverb right now, you know. So I wanted a way to distinguish it, so people knew what they were getting. But yeah, I have too many M8s, by the way, and none of them work. But yeah, I just want to thank you, Mark. I think what you did is basically, I hear it all the time too. Like people really like the look of the Model 1, like way more than Model 2, because the Model 2 is very generic and sterile looking, and the Model 1 has personality. And I think that goes to show for your design aesthetic. You know.
Well, thanks, but I was really just expanding on what was already there.
All right. I think that's it, except for this. Okay, I have one more prototype to show you guys. So this monstrosity. So while I was building out like these units, because, you know, feedback and criticism is always like the worst, because you're like, oh, I know I could do better, but it's really hard. And people were complaining. A lot of people were complaining. The ones that were complaining were people I don't think that had a Model 1. They just saw pictures of it and were like, the screen's way too small. And I'm like, I have gear that's way harder to read than this. So I don't know what anybody's talking about. So while I was still manufacturing this, I was prototyping different displays. So this is basically my actual prototyping board that I made. That's just like this hacked layer of stuff. And whenever I had a display that was roughly in the right size, I could then like wire it in, hack it together, and see how the display looks. This particular display wasn't used. It had a terrible viewing angle. I don't remember why, but I think I posted it on my Patreon a while ago. When I was working on this, I showed photos of it working at the time. But still, I find this hilarious. Also, this is, I don't know if I could show this on the camera, but there is this weird little board here that replaces the Teensy, I think. Yeah. So the Teensy's basically gone off of this, and inside of there is a micromod connector. So this is basically also the first prototypes of me using the micromod, and so I could use USB-C. So this is kind of like the prototype of Model 2, as ugly as it is. And my final Model 2s were basically like my final prototypes is the same as what people get now. I think this one looks okay. So we could do this. Yeah, even though this is covered in dust, it's still nice to see them together.
It's a happy family.
Yeah. So you could also see I was struggling with a logo, like for the longest time. I have like, I think other designers out there will understand this, but like it's the hardest thing in the world for me to design for myself, because I'm always like, oh, that's not cool enough. Oh, it's not. So like I have like a million different crappy logos, and this was like the best of the crappy logos I had. And I still wasn't happy with it. I commissioned, I forget what his name is, but maybe somebody can post it. But I commissioned a designer to come up with a new logo for me at some point, and they were gracious enough to do so. It's an artist who does like a lot of kind of cyberpunk logos and that kind of stuff, like really cool looking techie stuff. And it's simple and I like it. So that's why this has the funky D that people have probably seen around. Yeah. That's my story, everybody.
Cool story, bro.
Yeah, cool story. I was thinking it would be also cool at some point to go over like the firmware evolution of M8, but I think that might be good for another meetup video, because we'd have to do a lot of prep work to get that going.
Yeah. There's a lot of revisions, and I would have to look at the change log to see everything, like when every big addition was made, and now we're on.
Now we're on 7.
7?
No, I'm kidding.
Shh.
yeah, it's just been yeah, I don't know if you know this, Mark, but we had version 5, we had version 4 come out, and then a couple months later we had a version 5, and now we have version 6. So we're just
I saw the beta version 6.
yeah.
Pretty cool stuff.
It's been. I think we're almost there. We're almost ready to say it's done. I'm just kidding.
Who are you kidding? Done? What is this done thing you're talking about?
The thing I don't like about software is it's never done. Like, at least when you do something like out of wood or, some kind of house project or whatever, that once it's there, it's done.
Just one final thought about
Yeah.
the evolution of Model 1 and then its relationship to Model 2. The thing about Model 2 is that, and I know this from watching the design develop, there is zero wasted space inside that thing. It is really, really tight. And one of the things about the sort of bumper shapes around the edges of Model 1 is that those are kind of decorative. I mean, they serve a purpose, but that's solid metal. And Model 2 is like super, super tight. You really couldn't have done a better job with that. And I really mean that.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to have it still have some of that iconic look with Model 2. That's a good point.
It just would have been bigger.
I
It had to
wouldn't
have been bigger.
I wouldn't have been able to do like the cool chamfered edges or anything because it's literally edge to edge in there. So I was basically working within the design parameters that I had. I could have always, like, instead of doing the nice rounded backside, I could have maybe done a hard chamfer, but that would look too like gamer, I think.
And less ergonomic.
Yeah, and it would be less ergonomic as well. Yeah. But yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed that little walk through M8 history. And I appreciate Mark stopping by and giving his 2 cents. I definitely wanted to show you off to my friends on Discord.
Thanks.
So maybe we should get going on bundles
Bundle time.
if this M8 works. Why is it floating? Edit this out, Mikey.
Okay. Done. Done.
I hope there's a track by Mrdrcat.
Yeah.
Oh shit! You know about that one too.
I can guarantee you there is a Mr. Dr. Cat bundle today. So you're in for a treat.
My favorite.
Damn. All right. I think it's this folder. Thanks so much, everybody. Man, Sky, I miss you. Where are you?
Hi, I'm still here.
Can you help me read these words because I don't know how to read?
Yeah, okay. So, first up, we got Dinosawer, Kapers, up to Kust. Kapers?
It's way better.
Different
than
language?
What I would have done.
I like dinosaurs.
Oh, Jesus, that's so loud. My ears. Hold on a second. Let me just, I'll do it the lazy way. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Sorry, I think I might have had audio doubled in the beginning, but I'm not entirely sure. But, you know, we do this real time, so it's fine. Is Sky here? I don't know if Sky's by her mic right now. Up next, we have Chumpy Dumps with Puerta, Vallarta. I tried. Awesome. Thank you so much for submitting
Very
that song.
sci-fi.
Yeah. Load. Brr, brr.
Demira.
Yeah.
Oh, you can do that one.
I don't.
Yeah?
I can't pronounce this one.
Yeah, you can.
I think of all the submissions.
We got
this.
Hey Tony with Dorian Plant.
What were we saying?
Of all the different bundles we've ever gotten, I think this one has the largest amount of complicated names and things to pronounce. Which is
It's okay. I got this. I have no shame.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Sky. I love you. Okay, so real quick, I wanted to mention that I'm running this on the current beta. So I hope nobody has a problem with that. I don't know if we mentioned that or not when we submitted the bundles, but yeah. So apologies for drawing issues. I think that might be a beta issue thing. Or my 15,000 USB things connected to my computer right now. But yeah. That was awesome.
Clap, 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 clap.
Right. Thank you for submitting your bundle. That again was Hey Tony with Dorian Plant.
Okay, next up we got GregVDS. GregVDS with BWV846+NXT G.
I bet
Yeah.
you. I bet you that's to mess with me. Clap. That was great.
Clap, clap.
Clap, clap.
Cat. Cat, no.
Man, these like visual glitches are driving me insane. I was trying to draw over them to clear them. If I do that, oh look at that. That's fine. All right, thanks again for submitting your bundle. That again was GregVDS with BMV846+NXT G.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how I was able to do that. I think it's the beer.
My bad. Next up, we got CK with STELLARLIMBO.
Awesome. Thanks again for submitting your bundle. Clap, clap. The theme for today. We're just going to say, we're going to onomatopoeia this.
Okay.
That again was
yeah.
CK with Stellar Limbo. Sorry about that, CK.
Very good. Next up, we got Camillo Longo with Magic Eyes.
I would have totally butchered that.
I believe in you. Believe in yourself.
Flying saucers, extraterrestrials, monsters from outer space. The government has been telling us for years that they're not real.
The people are abducted, they're taken up into a saucer, usually lasts about an hour. We do all kinds of experiments. They give them shots, they poke them, they cut them, they do all kinds of things. They wipe out their memory and send them back.
Flying saucers, extraterrestrials, monsters from outer space. The government has been telling us for years that they're not real.
It was great. Like the feel of that one. Majestic eyes.
I got spooked. I got abductioned.
Oh no.
Next up. Oh wow, okay. Next up we got MoGesus with Droid Tune 101.
I got nothing. Awesome. What was that, Scott?
Clap.
Clap.
Clap, clap.
That again was MoGesus with Droid Tune 101.
Is that a D or an O?
That's a D. Wait.
I think it's an O. Okay, we got Oubliette with Warm Pandora.
Yay. It was
Clap,
great.
clap.
Clap, clap, clap. That again was
Next up. Oh.
Sorry. That again was
You go.
Doublet. How did you pronounce that?
Oubliette? Oubliette or Oubliette?
Oubliette with WARMPANDORA.
Next up, we got nickypy with appeals.
Thank you so much. Sorry about screwing up the ending there.
Clap, clap.
Man, this display stuff. It turns out like I could refresh it. So that's what I'll be doing now.
I don't know, it's kind of pretty.
Yeah, so on the newest beta, I did as much as I could to optimize USB audio for USB audio dropouts. And I was turning off all of the audio chain during drawing updates before this beta. And I got rid of all that because I didn't want that to interfere with USB audio. And that might be what's causing the glitch. It's either that or I do have a wacky setup today with all the USB devices on my computer. So
Oop.
It's not like that on the display on the unit. It's only like that on the virtual M8. So anyways, thank you so much for submitting that bundle. That again was nickypy with appeals.
You got this one.
Next up, we got robotmeadows with REFUGE. Did I do it right?
Yes.
Yay. It's the small victories. Wow, that was really nice.
Took us on a journey.
Yeah. I really love that intro and outro. Well executed. That again was Robot Meadows with Refuge. All right. Oh, look at that. We got Mr. Dr. Cat.
Next up, we got Mr. Dr. Cat with March of the Kittens.
I believe that's Mrdrcat.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Clap.
Clap, clap.
Thank you so much for submitting that song. I was the awkward silence was I didn't know if this was going to be another part.
Same.
So yeah, that was Mrdrcat with March of the Kittens.
You want to do this?
Oh, I mean, no.
Okay. Next up, we got Ineffable Twaddle with Phone Tag. Phone Tag.
That was awesome.
I need to go check my voicemail now.
I just realized that people can totally trick me now because I totally thought that that was the end here before the happy face appeared.
Or like cheeky face.
All right. That again was Ineffable Twaddle with phone tag.
Next up, we got vidret with dread compressor.
clap angrily.
Yeah. Base face clap. That was Vidret with Dread Compressor. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Next up, we got Brickshell with Liquid K.
Awesome. Thanks
Clap,
for
clap.
sharing. Clap, clap, clap. That again was Brickshell with Liquid K.
Next up, we got... Oh my god. You told me how to pronounce your name, and I forgot. Albokemy with Valenti City.
It was less than an hour's ride to the ancient, extinct city of Pompeii, lying like a corpse at the foot of its killer, Vesuvius. We entered through the gardens of an ancient home.
Cities have grown where there was water to turn the wheels of factories, near mineral resources, where there was oil, iron, coal.
The moon shone down hard and white, lighting up the empty city.
From the start, certain young towns expanded faster than the rest. The very size of a large city had certain definite advantages. As commerce grew at transfer points, industry, business, and communication tended to centralize in those cities.
A chap by the name of Valenti used to live here. He hasn't been home for nearly 2,000 years.
Though plagued by such problems as health, housing, and traffic, if we plan well, urban Americans will someday enjoy more of the advantages of a large city without many of the penalties they now are forced to pay. A variety of employment, up-to-date facilities, and a rich cultural life. Sidewalks and streets where once there were fields, steel and concrete instead of trees. This is the profile of a city, any city. New York, Washington, Chicago, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh.
The ancient, extinct city of Pompeii,
Any city.
lying like a corpse at the foot of its killer.
Isn't it thrilling, beautiful, and frightening?
Awesome.
Clap, clap, clap.
Thank you for submitting your songs, everybody. Really appreciate it. Did you get the pronunciation correct?
I don't know. Albokemy? Albokemy with Valenti City? I'll keep trying. Next up, we got Panelak Pascal with What Could Be. What could be? What could be?
Oh. What could be? Awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Clap, clap, clap. That was Panelak Pascal with What Cool Bay. Next up, we got Rum Raisin with Doinkin' It or something. I don't know.
Nice. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. That was it. That again was rum raisin with dunk in it or something. I don't know.
IDK.
IDK. Thank you again, once again, everybody, for joining us. We had a great time hanging out with y'all and going over some history stuff. Thank you, Mikey. Thank you, Sky, and thank you, Mark, for all joining in and hanging out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll do another meetup here in the coming weeks. We've been trying to do it more often. And it's fun to all hang out and shoot the shit. So hope to see you guys next time. Bye-bye.